unapologetic liberal talk. It's Tarabuster with Tara Devlin.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, there I am. Hi, everybody. What's up? How's it sounding? How's it looking? Yes. Welcome to Tarabuster. We meet here every Friday, Tuesday, and Thursdays. Thank you, Jim, on the chat. I see you in there. I'm having, I'm having another week where the time just goes by too quickly. And we're going to have a show. Anyway, my hair looks like whatever it looks like. All right, guys, welcome. How do we start? How do we begin? Thank you, Jim, on the chat. Nice to see you. Nice to see everybody. And thank you, Charlie, from APS Radio News. Is it sounding all right? Because I have my air conditioning on. It's a little... It's not hot out. It's just that my apartment is hot. They put the heat on, blasting, and I have no control over it. So, okay. My name is Tara Devlin. We meet here every Friday, Tuesday, and Thursdays for our get-together. Hopefully, we'll have some more shows, daily shows at a set time. The more subscribers we get, the more people find out about the show. And thankfully, the show is growing. It's going in the right direction. And that's probably thanks to people like Hal Sparks, of course, the Hal Sparklers that come and visit us. And we have a lot of crossover people who I love Hal, so I'm also a sparkler. And so we'll see. I think Hal is doing a show now, frankly. I'm not sure if he's going to come, if there'll be a raid, but that'll be nice. And thank you, of course, Charlie from APS Radio News. All he does to keep the show going and growing. That's amazing over at APS Radio. And going on the Stephanie Miller show doesn't hurt, so that was great. And also the Politics Bar. I was on the Politics Bar last week. And Deadline DC with Brad Bannon. So, the word is getting out, and that's a good sign. All right, but let's get to work here. We have a lot of things to talk about. We have a little bit longer on Fridays. The show is 2 hours. And not like on the other days, we only have an hour. What the hell just happened? Did one of the cats just do something? I heard a big bang. I thought there may be something. They're having their own little gathering now, the cats. And, well, Tara Jr.'s over here sleeping, but the rest of them are up to no good. Alrighty, so let's begin. Where do I want to begin now? There's so many things going on. One of the things, and the reason I named the show what I named it, that it's what did I name it? Now that what the hell is it? It's not Basket of Deplorables. It's hold on, what the fuck? Don't give up. Yeah, don't give up on the show, guys. The conservative hierarchy of the horrible. They are all horrible. And that's where I want to start, because as I was this is what I do when I prep for the show. I'm always prepping for the show, by the way, anyway. I can't help it. And it never stops. So if you do this, you really never get a day off. I'm not complaining. I'm just letting you into the window of what I have going on. And there's never, it just never stops, There's never a shortage for things to talk about. And there are just so many deplorable and horrible things happening. And many of them, if we were living in normal times, would get a bit more attention, I think. But, so that's why I try to find the smaller stories and highlight them. Like, for example, this bastard, where is he? This is disgusting. Hold on. Okay? Catsimatidis, this guy, he said, here's a quote from Catsimatidis, and then we'll jump off from here. That the homeless, he said the homeless should live in Uganda, that we should move them to Uganda, the American homeless. That is the remedy that John Catsimatidis has for poverty in America, that the homeless should live in Uganda for $8.13 a day, and we'll give them a check for $8.13 a day and let them live in Uganda. So let's just ship them off to another country, not build up a country where we don't have homelessness. There is really no reason for there to be this kind of income disparity and upward immobility. And a John Catsimatidis, this horrible sick person, this is a sign of sickness. You know, billionaires are absolutely a sign of a broken and rigged system. They're an anathema to freedom and democracy and any pretense of a functioning middle class. And this isn't me just spewing hyperbole. This is the receipts, really. He's an example. John Catsimatidis. Hold on a second. With that kind of, I don't know, it's a sickness. That kind of immorality, really. He thinks that, first of all, he thinks that poverty is somebody else's problem to solve in Uganda. Just send them off to Uganda, because that's, I guess, in his mind, that's the shithole country, and everyone will just put all the shithole people there. And not that he's a $4.8 billion man. I wonder if John Catsimatidis can live on, I don't know, 500 million. You think he'll be able to make it? Like Mary Tyler Moore, he'll be able to make it after all with maybe how about half of that? How about 250 million? There is no reason why anyone needs $1 billion, much less $4.8 billion, while we have homeless people in this country. That's the sign of the broken system. Now, how did he get his money? He owns Christie's and D'Agostino supermarket chains. He owns a Pennsylvania oil refinery and hundreds of convenience stores. He owns commercial real estate from New York to Florida. And this is important. He owns WABC, the most listened to talk radio station in America. So he's not some fringe billionaire that nobody listens to. He has a megaphone, a platform. He is inside the machine. He's a Trumpanzee. He talks to Donald Trump regularly. And his station reaches about 400,000 listeners in New York City alone. And this is part of how there is a strong anti-union contingent here in New York. The conservatives, they have their own newspaper, of course. It's the New York Post. It's fascinating to me. These are, but this is this John Catsimatidis person. He's somebody that they look up to. They think that John Catsimatidis, if they cheer billionaires, the working class people who think that it's great that John Catsimatidis has $4 billion, or really $5 billion, to throw around and doesn't give a shit about anybody but himself. I mean, look at him. And beyond the looks, just listen to him. It's ugliness from the inside we're talking about here. He's disgusting. And I don't get how they look at themselves in the mirror, much less sleep at night, with that kind of horribleness in their souls. Really. But this is why you don't want billionaires, first of all, because they're, you know, you get the people like this, and then we all have to be at the mercy of someone who's sick like that, who's so sick that he thinks that he has no heart, he has no empathy for anybody. He's, you know, he's like, this is the kind of person that just like steps over other people. This is what we're dealing with in this country. I don't know about you, but I am sick of it. I'm really sick of it all. I'm sick of the sociopathy, the malignant narcissism. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the selfishness. Hold on a second. I'm all over this. And worse than me being sick of it, this country is sick from it. This is how we got into this situation to begin with. We went from the most upwardly mobile to the least upwardly mobile, from the slightest income gap to the widest income gap, because of government policy and people like this. You think this guy is a patriot? This is not patriotism. You know, it's not patriotism to see your country, your fellow countrymen suffering without a roof over their head, and say, you know, ship them off. Let them get $8 a day and ship them off to Uganda. 'Cause why? Because you might have to pay a little bit more in taxes. This is what I'm so sick of these people for. Because you think John Catsimatidis would even miss $1 billion? At a certain point, it's a sickness. It's like hoarding anything, hoarding newspapers, hoarding animals, hoarding, you know, whatever, just being a hoarder. It's not normal. You're not well, especially when you don't give a shit about anybody but yourself. I mean, who am I thinking of now? We had, I think it was Charles Derber we had on the show, and he brought up the book, The Mountain People. I read this book many years ago. It's a sociopathy. I'm not sociopathy. It's a sociology book, not a sociopathy book. And it was about this tribe that had had all its means of support taken from it, and how they had really, the society had been destroyed, and it just the tribal and familial and all the friendships, marriages, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, their whole community was torn apart because their resources, they had no more resources. I should reread the book because it's come up numerous times. It's been many years since I've read this book, and but it just it highlights the social contract really that we have with each other, and how that can be decimated by sickness and selfishness, by people who are just greed-centered. There's more to life, isn't there? More than just making a few people very rich. Thank you, John, for your super chat. John, another week in paradise, huh, Tara? You could say fuck Trump around here. It's all good. Really, another week in paradise. But this is what they do to this country. What is disgusting is how this kind of behavior and attitude is normalized. Because they own the platforms of information. And I just wrote an article for the Political Voices Network. It's not up yet. Well, this is one of the things I was doing today. I did a video and wrote an article about how, for the first time in 30 years, actually, it's actually good news. The American people are of the belief, a majority of the American people, not by a wide majority, but a I think it's 52% to 48% believe that Democrats are better for the economy. All right, this is a new one now. And it's not just about belief, which is what what we've been dealing with for generations. People believing that Republicans are good for the economy, or better for working people, which is not true. But just because you believe it doesn't make it true. You know, when I was a kid, I believed in the tooth fairy. Didn't mean it was true. So now, the majority, by a slim majority of the American people, believe that Democrats are better for the economy, and that just goes to show you that that the propaganda is, even though the Republicans are peddling their propaganda furiously, the reality of people's lives are breaking through. Right? Truth has a way of breaking through the propaganda. Like, that's why we all saw Baghdad Bob back in the day and laughed. He's become a meme now. That's who Caroline Leavitt is. That's who these maggots in this maladministration are. When they're like, oh, everything's going swimmingly in Iran, and the illegal and unconstitutional war to distract from the fact that Traitor Trump is all over the Epstein files, committing crimes against children. So, yeah, and so for the first time in a long time, the American people are believing that the Republicans really aren't on their side. The Republicans are the ones who've given us people like John Catsimatidis. And I'm not saying that John can't have his supermarket, Gristedes or whatever the fuck else, D'Agostino. That's fine. Go. You can do what you want. Have your grocery store. But do you need $1 billion? Like, that comes from a broken system that robs from you and I and funnels it into the hands of John Catsimatidis. And then we all have to hope and pray that he's not a sociopath, that he gives a shit about anybody else but himself. But that doesn't seem to be a theme with these billionaires, really. And it's not in our best interest to have these people who can accumulate more wealth than the bottom whatever, right? Or more wealth to the point where they can gobble up government itself. Government is supposed to work for the majority. It's supposed to work for the working class. And I'm friggin' sick of it. You know, this is the guy, he made money. Okay, well, he sold overpriced groceries in the same neighborhoods that homeless people try to live in, right? He made his money off of labor of workers. And actually, he was found liable for stealing overtime wages from them, too. So doesn't that track with the kind of person he is? Never enough. Found liable for stealing overtime wages from your employees? It's not enough for him. He did $4.8 billion it just wasn't enough. He needed your overtime money. He wanted to rob the time out of your life. He wanted you to work those hours, and he wanted to take that. And believe me, if it weren't for liberal policies, the democratic policies that Republicans continuously try to overturn, you wouldn't get overtime at all. Yeah, that's one of the things in the article I just wrote for Political Voices, which will be up tomorrow probably. One of the first things that Traitor Trump did was undo an executive order. Hold on a second. Here's the music. He undid an executive order, Joe Biden's executive order, increasing overtime for federal workers. So every time Republicans get power, this is what they do. They make it harder for working people to have a decent life, a decent middle class life. You know, no one, we're just asking for a fair share of the profits that labor makes possible. And if you love your country and you want I mean, wouldn't you want your country to be that shining city on a hill? Like, what is a shining city on the hill to John Catsimatidis? What does it look like? It's him and his fat cat pals at Maramoron Great Gatsby party, I guess, right? Where all the plebs are in their giant wine glasses, amusing the likes of him. I am so over it. And it really does seem like the American people might be over it, too. To a degree. Not quick enough. I mean, the fact that it has taken this long for the American people for a majority, a slim majority of the American people to figure out that Republicans are bad for the economy, when we have our own eyes, math, reality in our own eyes, demonstrable for generations. You know, the fact that it's taken us or them this long to figure it out is an indictment in itself of the system, of the, you know, but it doesn't. It's not a. It's you know, you don't. It's not a secret. It's not a. It's not confusing why it would take this long. It's because of propaganda. The people like John Catsimatidis he owns a radio station. You think him and the people he employs on the radio station to spew the right-wing bullshit, you think they're going to say that Republicans are bad for the economy? That whenever Republicans get into power, the American people fall lower and lower on the economic ladder? No. They understand the power of propaganda. And that's why this show, I believe, is so important, and others like it. I don't know about you. That's why I guess you're here. I thank you for, you know, keeping the show going and growing. I say all the time that we'll be on the right track when the corporate media are like, please become a patron, and we're doing well, a daily show at a set time without having to, you know, beg you to subscribe on the Substack or whatnot. But I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's the truth. Thank goodness we can do a show like this still, right? And I will do it until they come and drag me out of my apartment and take me to wherever, Guantanamo or El Salvador. As long as I just worry about the cats, really. I've lived. I'm, you know, it is what it is. We're on the right side of history and decency, dignity, and democracy, and we will win. I just want to be around to see it, but if not, I will not stop until, you know, they pry the microphone from my cold, dead hands, I guess. Really. But, here's another thing that John Catsimatidis said. I think we've talked about him before. Now it's all coming back to me. He compared taxing the wealthy to what Hitler did to the Jews. Okay? He's one of them. That is actually a real thing he said. And he said this on New York One. And he was asked about the rich paying a little more in taxes. And he said, I want to be precise here. Hitler punished the Jews. We can't have punishing the 2% right now. We can't have punishing, it's a direct quote. We can't have punishing the 2% group right now. We can't have it? Why? What do you mean we can't have? And is it punishing to live in a city, in a community, in a country, and that where everyone has a home? where everyone has a decent life, can live in decency and security and dignity, retire, go to a doctor, get an education. Is that punishing to you? It certainly is a real sick and twisted way to view life and your country, right? To think that if you live in a country where everyone can earn a living wage and people get the help they need when they need it, or go to school, or take a day off and go to the doctor without fearing a medical bill, just going to take care of your health and not having to cut your diabetes medicine in half or whatnot. How that punishes you is a pretty twisted way to think about the world, and indicative of how sick he is, and how he shouldn't have that money. Really, it's twisting his mind. In fact, taxing him would be the most humane thing we could do, to tax him down to size. It sounds like taking control of someone who has no control. He has no control of himself. It's like an alcoholic being ordered to go to rehab or something for the good of society. So why wouldn't taxing him into reasonableness be good for society? It is, and it's not just society, it's good for him. Because clearly it's his mind. This is his mind on $4 billion. It's not enough for him. He sees homeless and hungry and poor and people who are on GoFundMe begging for medical care. He sees that, and I don't know what he thinks. He's cool with it. That in itself is immoral and sick. Yeah, he thinks that that taxing him would be like Hitler punishing the Jews, being punished. That is very twisted and really kind of delusional, unhinged, really. Sounds like he needs a shrink more than he needs another tax break. He's also threatened to move his entire business out of New York. Goodbye. Fuck off. How about that? We'll miss you. Not much. Send us a postcard from where the fuck you land. Really, go away. Take your overpriced groceries to some fucking red state. See if they can afford it. Right? Well, you could steal from them probably a lot easier, because they're poorly run red states. They send Republicans to office and they're not keeping track. Nothing will happen to you, of course, because you're rich, and I'm sure Traitor Trump would give you a pardon if you robbed it anyway. So, yes, he said he would go. I mean, I wish they would just do it already. Would they shrug already? They all read that sociopath Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged, one of her poorly written books, her shitty books about being a selfish bitch who can't even follow her own morality. She had no morality, but she couldn't even follow her own suggestions. Everybody's a parasite. She was calling everyone parasites when she was writing, and it was before her 4-pack a day, her filthy cigarette habit caught up to her with cancer, and she realized, oh shit, she couldn't afford it. She couldn't even last her own lifetime taking her own advice. Oh, she's not a parasite though, right? She needed it. I'm so, we know who the parasites are here. John Catsimatidis is the parasite, but he's as big as Jabba the Hutt. And they're all latched on our body politic, and they're sucking the life out of us, making the whole system sick. And unfortunately, they make some people sick, some working people. That's what gets me the most. Or when I hear people who drive a cab or work for a living. saying that they, no poor, this is what I've told you this story, no poor guy ever gave me a job. A friend of mine who's on, I know him. He's not really a friend. He's like an acquaintance. I know him from the community of recovering people, and he's HIV positive. He used to be an IV drug user. He is on disability. He's got a roof over his head thanks to all of the social safety net that liberals made possible. But he's like the biggest right-winger, one of them. And it's just the cognitive dissonance that goes along with that is fascinating to me. And he's one of the people that would say, oh, no poor person ever gave me a job. Well, you don't have a job now because you're on disability and, you're welcome. And that's not even true. No poor person gave me a job. If I don't give a shit how many Catsimatidis opens, if nobody can afford his shit, the shitty groceries that he sells, then no one's going to buy it. So wouldn't you be better off in a country where people are economically vibrant? And I would think so, right? Why would you want to be a rich person in a poor country? That just says that you're sick and you hate this country. You hate America, really. So, yeah. And, there was another book I read about. There was this tribe. I gotta look this up. Was it the Mountain People? The same book, maybe? No, I don't think so. There was another one where there was a story about, they all went out to hunt communally, and then they would put all their I don't eat meat, so it's hard to think about the poor. But, it was a tribe that needed to hunt. It's not like they had Impossible Burgers at their disposal. So they would put all of their kills, I guess, gross, in a communal pot. And this one of their tribe was hoarding it and holding back on the rest of the tribe, and they punished him by taking it away from him. But then I'm trying to remember how it was resolved. They ended up, one of the final punishments would be to kick him out of the tribe altogether, and then he'd be on his own and he can go fuck off. And I don't remember the book though exactly. I gotta look it up. But this is what we should do to these people. This is what I'm saying. I'm sorry, it's taken me a while to get there, but fuck these people. Go fuck off to Epstein Island. They don't want to, though, because they need us. They need to ride us all to the bank. They need us to suck on, the parasites that they are. Really. But we have a choice here, too, and this is what's so sickening. When they have been so successful propagandizing our fellow Americans who work for a living into voting for their own demise, voting for the Republicans that enable this concentrated wealth that harms society. And then what do they do to make up for it? Well, let's keep going here. It's all connected. They do things like this. Where is it? Not that. We can get to that in a minute. Not that. Not that guy. Not that fucker. Not that fucker. Where is it? Something about, I had it here. Not that, not that. Well, whatever. I'll find it as I'll talk about it. They are, it's FCC oh, not him. Fuck him. What is he saying? The Democrats are the party of communists, radical leftists, crazy lunatics, and America haters. Oh, exhausting, isn't it? Communists, radical America. Hey, show us where, America was founded by radical leftists, really, as radical as it came at that time. Nothing radical about conservatism, especially in the 1700s, right? This is what, I'm so sick of them. And there you go. There's an example. While I look for this, I'm just looking for the image, but they are, they need their propaganda. This is why we're suffering under the fascist coup, because propaganda works. And they know it. They just repeat shit like that. They're the radical leftists. They're communists. Well, show me. Where the fuck is the communist policies coming out of the Democratic Party? I see communist policies coming out of Traitor Trump. He wants to own private businesses, right? That's communism, folks. Well, here's what Republicans have to offer. This really made me sick. FCC chair considering putting warning labels on TV shows, on content. Who the fuck is he? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even finish the sentence because I'm so outraged. FCC chair considering putting warning labels on TV shows with trans people that have trans characters or feature trans people or mention trans people or anyone who's not a man who's a manly man like Pete Hegseth or Kristi Noem's husband, I guess, right, in a godly marriage, or a woman like a trad wife like Erica Kirk or something like that. And they want to put warning labels on TV shows or media content with trans people. This is disgusting. It's dehumanizing. It should be alarming to everyone. So he's issued this public notice this came out April 22nd, opening a comment period. So I suggest, not that they give a shit. Republicans have done this before. When the Republicans were in charge, who was it? That guy, Ajit Pai, that fucker. When they were trying to overturn net neutrality, they had a public comment period. And the only reason the public comment period exists is because, Democrats, liberals, normal people put that into policy. Republicans, they just go through the motions, as we know. If they could not have a public comment period, they would not have it. And they don't listen to the public comments. It's a performance. They gotta, it's just an inconvenience they have to get through till they get to their desired result. And when it came to net neutrality, Ajit Pai, it came out that the comments were fake. They were putting fake comments up there by fake people that were like, yeah, do away with net neutrality, which is bullshit. Most of the people wanted net neutrality, and this is something that they knew, so they just make it up. This is how much respect they have for the American people and the democratic process, you see, which is none, less than none. So Brendan Carr, they put up this formal public notice saying that there's an open comment period on whether TV ratings should add a special warning label on children's programming, and I'm sure that'll all be subjective, which any programming that includes, quote, gender identity themes. You know what? Why don't you fuck off into history's trash bin, Brendan Carr? Gender identity themes. Nobody gives a shit about you. You have a problem with trans people because you know what your real problem with trans people is, Brendan Carr and Republicans? It's that your problem is that you suck at governing, and you suck at the economy, that the American people are figuring out your grift, and you need a distraction, just like the illegal war against Iran to distract from the fact that Traitor Trump is all over the Epstein files, committing crimes against children. It's the same strategy. This is all they have, just like every fascist administration. Hitler went after trans people first, too. But trans people are their favorite boogaboos now, right? Oh, it really triggers right-wingers on so many levels. The pee-pee police they get a lot of mileage out of it, because they've always been the pee-pee police, because they are fucked up. Like John Catsimatidis is fucked up. They're all fucked up. They're sick. They are not nice people. They're not good people. So they want to talk about making America great. They're not even good. Try being a good person. Try being good. And then you could come to us about, hey, here's our plan to make America great. But you don't make America great by vilifying a targeted minority group that you target. I mean, they're a targeted minority group because Republicans target them, because they're an easy target. They're less than 1% of the population. And as far as the financial means to fight back, trans people don't have that in the way regular old gays had it. Because trans people are more apt to be economically insecure because of just the nature of the society. Hold on. We'll be right back. Well, we're back. We're already back. So trans people are more apt to struggle financially. And that's a disgrace. We should all, our hearts should bleed for that. We should want to do something about that, so our fellow human beings can enjoy their lives to the best of their abilities. Isn't that our concern? I would think it's all of our concern. Not Republicans, of course. They only give a shit about themselves. But that's not e pluribus unum. I don't know. I'm not trying to be unrealistic. Yeah, not everybody's decent, of course. Not everybody is sincere in operating, sincerely, whatever the fuck. But we should at least try to help each other, I think. And so this in itself is yet another, it's just an assault, of course, on trans people that are marginalized and politically unconnected and under attack. So what else can a Republican do except pile on? Right? Isn't that what they're Jesus? They're fake Jesus. There are two, I've learned, there are two kinds of Jesus in our society. There's the Jesus Christ that Christians, actual Christians like John Fugelsang, follow. And then there's Republican Jesus. And Republican Jesus he's like Bizarro Superman. It's like the opposite of everything Jesus taught. The actual words that came out of Jesus's mouth, it wasn't, he didn't mince words. He spoke them quite plainly. Right? Help people. Be a good person. Be good. Be best. Right? Let's boil it down to Melania speak. Be best. Not Republicans. How do you look at, how do you take a minority group that is under attack everywhere, and you just want to make it worse for them by putting a fake warning label on their existence? Because that's what it is. And what will happen is that they will be symbolically annihilated, which is what happened to gay people over the course of media history. gay people in general, regular old gays, would not, whenever they were portrayed in media, they would be portrayed as the villain, or being gay was another characteristic that made them even more of an other. You know, they were evil, they were devious, they were, or the butt of the joke. There was something to be laughed at. And now trans people, I guess, but trans people are already under assault. There's over 700 bills Republicans have introduced the past couple of years against trans people. I mean, it's fucking pathological. Really. It's disgusting, because what will happen is networks will preemptively scrub any trans or non-binary character out of content rather than risk this ratings penalty. And what will happen is it sends a message. It will make trans people more vulnerable to attack and vilification and assault. And of course, if you are a trans person, you'll have those struggles, and especially a trans youth. That's why suicide in the trans community is, it's a real concern, especially for families who have trans children. I think about this. Could you imagine you have a trans child at this time in American history, and you know that, mark my words, this is not going to age well. Republican policies never do. Do you notice that? That's how you know they suck. Because it's not that we want to enhance them or bring them into the future with us. These are the policies of the past. We thought we left them in the darkest pages of the history books, but no, they have to go and resurrect them. It's disgusting. And, but the history, we will continue to evolve without them, without Republicans. And the future judgment on this kind of policy is not going to be kind to them. They're not going to look good in history's light. It's like the Nuremberg laws. It's like us looking back on those laws, or Jim Crow laws. Let's keep it close to home, because we all know that Hitler and the Third Reich got inspiration from America's Nuremberg laws. So, and that's something that we're not proud of, are we, as Americans? I know Republicans want to rewrite history and get that out of the history book. Thank you, Michelle, for your super chat. And thank you, Susie, for being a member, a Booty Boo member for 6 months. Love you all. Love you too, Susie. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. I don't know. What do you think? I'm just looking at the chat now. How's it going? Yes. I know, right. Redfoot says boob jobs, Viagra are all gender-affirming care. But Republicans won't be banning that now, will they? Nope. It's the truth. So is Mar-a-Lago face. That's gender-affirming care. Right? Mara friggin' moron face? Laura Loomer's face? That's gender-affirming care. And I would say that's sick. It's out of control. You know, these fuckers like Brendan Carr and the Republicans, they want to step into a family's life that's trying to save their trans kid's life. But they won't. Why don't you keep it close to home, Brendan? When next time you're in Maramoron and you see Laura Loomer and the like, why don't you put a warning label on them? Say, hey, honey, cut it. Your face was fine. You should cut back on the gender affirming care, because it's, you've gone too far here. Clearly you need help. And this is, I guess that's the theme of tonight. They all need help. They're all fucked up. They're all sick. Right? They're all sick in some form. It's never enough. It's never, and I mean, really, the going after trans people is another example of them. They'll throw anybody under the bus. They will throw everybody under the bus. They don't care. It's another human being who just wants to live. Like, leave them alone. They don't care. They will fuck up your day, your night, your whole existence if they can, have more money and power for themselves. Like, they don't have enough. They don't have enough. Brendan Carr isn't, he's not big enough. He's not respected enough. I don't know what the fuck he's thinking. What his damage is. But, it ain't good. And of course, Carr, he has, and it makes you wonder too, because people who go after, have this pathological hate of trans people or gay people, they're gay or trans. There's something in them. But Carr has as we know, he has a documented history of making threats towards stations, media outlets that don't cater to Traitor Trump, that don't bow to the baboon. He frames this assault on decency, on dignity, on humanity as parental transparency. I mean, what? See, it's so fucked up. Like, your kid will see a trans person and see that, gender is a construct, and that's a whole conversation for another time, but that there's all kinds of people in the world, and we're good to all of them. Wow, that's all you got to do. Imagine that. Mommy, what's a trans person? Well, there's all kinds of people, and some people are born in the wrong body, and thankfully we have gender-affirming care, and we can help them. Like we help others who have issues, like Tara Devlin from Tarabuster needs a fucking pair of glasses so she can see. And other people need, different things. So we help each other, and we don't make fun of little Tara Devlin on Tarabuster. We don't go four-eyed bitch, or knock the glasses off her face and say, just take the eyes God gave you. Right? Oh, I can't take them. I cannot take the filthy Republicans. What? It's Sage Ohio's birthday today? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Sage Ohio. Uh-oh, here comes Tara Jr. Ah. You can stay for a minute if you don't bite my hands. Say hello. Say hello to everybody. Ow. Did you say ow? All right, relax. Oh, jeez, Christ. Christ on a bike, right? It never stops, Junior. You're lucky. You don't know what's going on out here in this world. Really? You are so lucky, Tara Jr. You don't understand that there's a Traitor Trump squatting in the White House. Right. And Grumpy Cat on the chat says, how is Caitlyn Jenner still Republican? It's so true. But that whole freak out that she had about her passport, it is emblematic. It speaks volumes about who they are. They don't think it's gonna affect them. And then she doesn't want to say anything bad about Trump. How could this be happening to me? I know, right? Me. Of all people, I'm a good one. I believe in oppressing everyone who's like me. I believe. I mean, it's like, this is what I'm saying. All right, get up, get down, sit, stop. He's that's just the way he sounds. He's fine. He's always like, he's old. He can sound like that. He's earned it. Go lay down. Not that he listens. Oh, brother. So, yeah. All right. Well, and I have many stories in the queue here. How's everybody doing? Where do I want to go next? Where's my topics? I'm telling you. It's really exhausting sharing the same air with these people. But I do have hope lately. Come on, motherfucker. Ow. Tara, stop it. He just jumped and fell off my leg, and he was hooking his nail into my leg. Go lay down. I'm sorry. I should have put him in the bedroom. So, but then you wouldn't get to see him. All right, well, let's talk about these dum-dums, these AI dum-dums. How about it? Right, these dum-dums? I know, MAGA dum-dums? So unusual. How can that happen? Where the fuck is my Safari? Right? MAGA dum-dums, believe it or not, they got grifted. I mean, why didn't I think of this myself? To scam the dum-dums. No, because I'm not a scammer, that's why. Because it's the same, it's the Democratic mentality, I guess. You know? Like, we don't think like they do. We don't think like scammers. We don't think like Republicans. They're coming up with ways to kick people off the voting rolls, right? Like, I'm not coming up with ways to scam people. But, yeah, somebody has put this together. And it was, I'm sure it doesn't take a genius to just put together this AI thing, an AI maggot scam, and find a bunch of dupes. Hold on, where is it? Where are my notes? Where's my notes? Sorry, guys. This is the way it is on Friday, and actually I've had it's been a long day. So I ask you to bear with me and talk amongst yourself. Where the fuck is it? Oh, here we go. Yeah. So, of course, the scammers, it's the perfect encapsulation of maggots, of their toxic mix of misogyny, grievance, and gullibility. Weaponized by AI. All they had to do is throw the hook in the water. But it also shows how broken our social media and political culture really are. So this 22-year-old Indian med student created an AI MAGA nurse named Emily Hart and made thousands of dollars scamming right-wing men who bought into that she was real. And she was a real all-American Trump-loving blonde. And now that I'm saying this, what was that story? I missed this story too. They come fast and furious. What is the story of Trump saving an AI Iranian woman? I'll have to look that up. And Iran mocked him. I don't know if you've watched the Iranian propaganda, the Lego propaganda. I mean, it's really good. The propaganda game is on, and their music is good, and but you know, they use what is ironic, of course, but not unexpected. They use rap, and isn't Iran a regime that sentenced a rapper to death, if I'm not mistaken? And now they're using rap to you know, to really spread their message, and their message is on point. I'm not complaining, because I think they certainly are speaking the truth about Traitor Trump. He's a con man. He's unfit. He's a clown. His whole regime, he's surrounded by clowns. But, you know, it's a shame that the Iranian people are also oppressed. Right? If only they just, you know, we had governments that promoted the general welfare. But this is why we got to get rid of ours. We got to focus on our regime, our maladministration. Because we do have a rather progressive blueprint from which to build upon. Why can't I talk? So, yeah. So back to the AI med student. I mean, the AI blonde MAGA nurse created by a med student. Hold on a second. Here's the music. We'll be right back. So the scam only worked because there's a huge market for reactionary, lonely maggots to pay for access to everything they ever dreamed of. It's the girl of their dreams, a submissive, gun-loving, immigrant-hating fantasy woman. It's heartening to know that they couldn't find an actual woman like that. Well, I'm sure she exists somewhere. Hopefully, she's pretty rare. But, you know, a submissive, gun-loving, immigrant-hating, horrible maggot. And yeah, so this is it's not, I mean, I guess you can look at it as a symptom, really, of a fascist movement built on contempt for women, on dehumanizing others, and the attention economy that rewards rage. So especially in the maggot sphere, rage. This is how they were attracted to the Russian, you know, the Russian bots. They got them by triggering their anger with all the fake news. So he was looking for, the guy's name Sam, a med student, was broke, looking for ways to fund his exams and a future move to the United States, he said. His first attempt at a generic hot girl account flopped. Then he turned to Google for advice on how to optimize the scam. Google Gemini told him the truth of our diseased media ecosystem. Generic, sexy content is saturated. Politically polarized culture war bait performs better. And that's how he came up with the MAGA, you know, fake MAGA nurse. And isn't that interesting? So he didn't go and create a liberal clickbait fake woman, because what are you going to do? You're going to make a woman who cares about immigrants, who cares about her fellows, her, you know, who's a nurse. You can find, that's a real woman. You can really find that woman. She's not a fantasy. She's real. She's there. She's out there. There's hundreds of thousands of her. There's millions of her right now. They're at the No Kings rally. But he built Emily, a blonde, MAGA-aligned nurse who loves guns, fishing. She loves the American flag. She's confused about what the flag means, what it stands for. She likes the symbols, like maggots, but the substance is over her head. That's the way Maggot keeps it. She likes cheap beer and Trump. Ugh, God. Thank God this woman is fake. He flooded Instagram and other platforms with AI-generated images of her and short-form video clips, heavily wrapped in conservative talking points. Can I find her? All of these clicks, the clips that I have are people talking about it. So the account blew up, tens of thousands of followers on Instagram in about a month. Some videos were viewed over 1 million times. And then she started selling merch. She got, she started monetizing it. I don't understand I guess if you do this, the fact that it's now revealed to be an AI is disappointing to the maggots. But there's really nothing illegal about it. It just goes to show you how stupid maggots are. Meh. Anybody could fall for it, but it works because it was built around their maggot identity. Trad wife bullshit. Culture war content, right? That flatters. That's really what it's about. Flattering the fragile maggot male ego. And that's what you have to be. And I've said it for years, as you guys know, that in order to be a Republican female, the Republican females, you're accepted to the point where up to the point where you are, you have to be a bigger misogynist than the Republican males. That's why they will accept a Sarah Palin. They like her, or liked her. I'm sure they still do, because she was attractive, and she also was a misogynist, and she, would say things like the white men are the most persecuted of all of the races. It's the white men, the white Christian male. They're the ones that are so victimized. Like Erica Kirk, crying about white men, the white man, right? Isn't there? There's a video of her crying about white men. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Like, okay, Erica. They're not. I don't know. Where did these white maggot men become so fragile? And like everything else, it's a progression. What is it? A projection or a confession? They've been calling liberal men snowflakes, or just not manly men enough. When it's, of course, the opposite is completely the truth. Liberal men are manly men. Because caring about other people there's nothing more masculine, right? Giving a shit about others. I would think. That means you're strong. That's the sign of strength, caring about other people. Especially those, weaker or smaller. Pete Hegseth is the biggest bitch. The weakest little fragile poser. That kind of fake masculinity is sickness. It's like the theme of tonight. Right? These are guys, they scream, what is NPC? That's one of the things they say. Non-player characters, the NPC. They say, because they say feminists and liberals are NPCs. Yet they open their wallets for a literal non-person. Oh well. They will never look at themselves. You know? It's the point. Lonely, angry men convinced that real America is under attack. And all it took was them to be groomed by like an avatar who mirrors their grievances right back at them. That's all you got to do. It reminds me of that child that spoke at CPAC. You know, all you got to do to get a name in the conservative sphere is you just mirror them. You mirror their bullshit. You mirror their talking points. That's all it is. If you watch Fox News, it's the same thing. That's all that Hannity, that's how Hannity made his bones, right? He would listen to Rush Limbaugh, and then he would repeat the Rush Limbaugh show. It was just repetition of the same bullshit. And that's what you do. If you want to get anywhere in the maggot world, you just mirror their bullshit. And so there was this child that spoke at CPAC years ago. I'm trying to remember his name. I'm looking it up. Child spoke at CPAC. Child spoke. Why can't I type? I can't type and I can't talk. Spoke at CPAC. You guys will remember. No. Years ago. I'm asking the AI. Who's the child? He wrote a book. He used to be a big deal. Years ago. No, motherfucker. Somebody on the chat. Who was it? You'll remember. The child. Somebody on the chat. He became a liberal. Let me see. Who was... And he wrote a book. Child. CPAC. Speech. Becomes a liberal. His name was Jonathan Crone. Yes. Okay? Remember Jonathan Crone? And I'm just bringing him up because it's an example of all you got to do is mirror their bullshit back at them. And hold on. So this was years ago. I'm talking like 2010 or even sooner or before. So he gained national attention in the 2009, yeah, I'm looking it up, 2009 CPAC, before they went full on fascist, even though back in the day I was saying they're fascists and every Republican chest beats the heart of fascism. And so Jonathan Crone was this child, and he said, so years later he came out, when he was in college, he came out as a liberal. He said, I'm a liberal. And he spoke about his experience as this conservative wonderkind. How they put him up on a pedestal. He was the keynote speaker at CPAC at 13 years old. Okay? And all he did was he and his dad would listen to Rush Limbaugh, and they would, and all he did was repeat the bullshit that Rush Limbaugh said on his show. You know, trickle down, deregulation, no taxes on the rich, all that bullshit, immigration, the same plan, the same game plan that they have. They never change. It's always, you know, shrink government, drown it, kill it, murder it, kick it down a flight of steps, you know. And he gave the keynote speech at CPAC, and then he wrote a book about it, not about CPAC, but he wrote a book. I don't know, what was it called? Let's see. Here. That's Francis and Ray, by the way. That's a picture. They're on my That's the screensaver on my Safari. See how cute? See? They're the cats in the American Gothic. I made that picture as a joke for my aunt. Okay. Like I don't have enough shit to do, right? I gotta make pictures of fucking cats in a painting. So yeah, so he what was the book he wrote? Defining Conservatism, he wrote. Okay. And what he said was that I don't know. I wonder what happened to him. Where is he today? Let's see. I'm going to look it up. He's got to be in his 30s now. Where is he today? So he spoke at CPAC, and he said that all he did was repeat the bullshit that Rush Limbaugh said to him. And they gave him a standing ovation. They thought he was like a real genius, you know? And all he was just a kid who had no clue, because he was a child, and was very good at repeating shit that he was hearing on the radio. So now he works as a freelance journalist and writer. He works for Mother Jones, Vice, Salon, The Guardian, The Atlantic, and Rolling Stone. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? I did not know. Huh. Well, there you go. And as soon as... This is what happens, right? He went to college. He learned a couple of things for real. And he's not a conservative. Interesting. But there you go. And it's just, goes along with the topic of all you got to do is mirror the Republicans, mirror their bullshit, and then they'll put you up on a pedestal. They'll throw money at you. Yes. As long as you validate their fucked up worldview. Is fucked up a worldview? Yeah. And they got it. They got it in spades here. And it's sickness. So here's another thing. We got stories, many stories. What time is it anyway? How you doing? How's everybody doing on the chat? Okay. Where the fuck is it? This U.S. soldier. This is kind of, this guy is, he's the sacrificial lamb. Okay. I wrote an article about how the maggots are making money, and it's someone close to the Trump crime family, because the money that was being made on Polymarket had nothing to do with Maduro, okay? It had to do with the attack on Iran. And they're throwing this, they found this U.S. soldier. They know that people are on their case. And eventually, when the Democrats get control again, when we get our, get rid of the Republicans, when they're in the minority where they belong, there will be accountability. It's coming. And there will be investigations into insider trading that's going on in the Trump crime family. There is no way that these people are making money on Polymarket without insider trading, without insider information of when the bombs are going to fall. There's no way. They bet on when Iran was going to get attacked, when if the supreme leader was going to be assassinated. within accounts that were made within a day. And then they made these massive bets, and they paid it off big. One of the accounts was called MAGA My Man. But this person, this had nothing to do with the Iranian accounts that were made and then deleted after they cashed out. So this is no doubt that they got insider information from Trump, because they made the bets before the Congress itself was briefed, which is unbelievable, but completely believable. And this guy, so they found this guy. He's a U.S. Special Forces guy, traded on this. He was in on the coup. He was part of the coup. So he was helping to plan it. And he used Polymarket to turn his insider knowledge. So he didn't get it from Trump. He was in the assault that captured Maduro, and he turned that into $400,000. Oh well, let's get with the other ones. $400,000 is chump change. The Iranian bets were making millions. So, come on. Yeah, he said he took what he learned in this classified briefings and went straight to Polymarket. He made a $35,000 bet. Well, he turned $35,000 into crypto, and then he made a series of bets that Maduro was going to be ousted. And they paid off because he was part of the mission that did it. So it's surprising that somebody is being held accountable, but you know, they're only doing it to make it seem like it's not the Trump crime family who's involved. Throw the low-hanging fruit to the Justice Department, you see? And, you know, they're not going to let go of this. They like making money. That's the point of the Trump crime family. They're not they're not in office to make the trains run on time. And one of the things when I was watching the Saudi, not the Saudi, I was watching the Iranian Lego movies earlier. They really got it down. And one of the movies was about how none of the Trump minions, none of his spawns are wearing uniforms, that they're profiting off the war, while everyone else, the poor, are fighting and dying in Traitor Trump's illegal war. Hey, they got a point. It ain't lies. No lies detected there. All right, guys, thank you. This is the end of the Progressive Voices part of the show, but we have more show. YouTube.com/C for channel/Tarabuster. We will win. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for your support. We're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. We stick together. We win. I'll see you soon. Thank you, Charlie, from APS Radio News. All right. How are we doing? All right. Hold on. So, let's see. I had another thing. Oh, yeah. What the hell? I was trying to think of the other thing I wanted to talk about, and it is the fact that the Trump crime family, that this maladministration is officially a white supremacist organization, and they're going after the Southern Poverty Law Center. This should alarm us all. Hold on a second. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Wait a second. It's so vile. You go after the Southern Poverty Law Center? I mean, the SPLC has been in the business of making America better for 55 years. They're the good guys here. They're not the bad guys. So when you're a fascist organization, though, and you thrive on racism, you need racism and bigotry and hate to survive. So anything that gets in the way of that, you gotta put the full weight of the government on that. Gotta put the boot on the neck, right? Where is it? Not that. Ugh, not him. Let's see. I've been trying to put up, articles of the things I'm talking about. So it'll make it easier for people to understand what we're doing here. You know what I'm saying? Unbelievable. But what's happening? Oh, here's the New Republic. The headline at the New Republic sums it up pretty much. Justice Department sides with the Ku Klux Klan. This is where we are. This is the kind of maladministration. Oh, no. They're not racists. Traitor Trump is the least racist person you know, that you will ever meet. He's the least racist of all the people. If that's the truth, God help us. The least racist, because he's pretty fucking racist, and he has been his whole damn life. It's the sign of a weak mind, a weak and small, twisted mind, like the rest of them. And that's all they have. That's what's so sick about them, which has really been the theme of tonight's show, how sick conservatism is. If that's what motivates you, that's where you stand in life. The greatest thing, that your biggest accomplishment is being born white. And look at this guy. These are the same people. And when I think about Todd Blanche with Ghislaine Maxwell, so to speak, these are the same people, protecting pedophiles, protecting Traitor Trump's, history of palling around with pedophiles in the very least, and all over the Epstein files, credibly accused of crimes against children. And he's yucking it up with Ghislaine Maxwell. Gives her some cushy digs. Really. So now the Department of Justice, Traitor Trump's Department of Injustice, which is his personal law firm now. It exists to please the dear leader. It's not there to help the American people like in the past. The Department of Justice would work with the Southern Poverty Law Center and break up white supremacist groups and infiltrate them. The Department of Justice was literally created in the 1870s to crush the Ku Klux Klan and enforce Reconstruction-era civil rights. When you think about that and think about what they're doing now, it makes me want to puke. You have to fast forward to today, and Traitor Trump's Department of Injustice has flipped the entire mission on its head. This is why we're here. I have so many, I know how we can fix this country, really. We need to finish the work of Reconstruction. We barely scratched the surface. And here we are. We have an unfit, tax-cheating, draft-dodging, wannabe dictator baboon in office because we didn't finish the work of Reconstruction. And we have a duty now, when we get this country back from these monsters, from these racists, from these horrible hate-mongering ghouls, these greed-centered ghosts of the Gilded Age, that we have a duty to finish the work of Reconstruction, to ensure that these people never get power again for generations, maybe in a few hundred years, if we last that long. They might rear their ugly head again, unfortunately, because that's the nature of life and humanity. We seem to forget the lessons of the past. But we have a duty to make sure that the likes of this maladministration never gets power again. So they are going after the Southern Poverty Law Center instead of violent white supremacists. The indictment says that the Southern Poverty Law Center ran a scheme of wire fraud and money laundering by using donor funds to pay informants who are members or leaders of extremist groups. Between 2014 and 2023, the SPLC allegedly funneled at least $3 million to individuals connected with the Ku Klux Klan, National Alliance, the National Socialist Movement, the Nazis, and other extremist outfits. Acting AG, he's only acting because, you know, this is how Traitor Trump gets around confirmation. And that's another thing that has to be fixed. Like, we have to expand the corrupt and illegitimate Supreme Court. We have to get money out of politics. We have to indict all of the filthy fascist criminals that have run rampant over our system and tried to destroy rights for other people. We got to do something about that. And we have to, I believe, make sure our working class, our middle class, is economically vibrant and upwardly mobile. We do this through policy, through universal health care, universal higher education, regulation. We staff our federal agencies with good paying jobs with benefits and all that, and retirement security. We do it all by taxing the rich, reasonable, you know. These are reasonable policies. We do it all by once again, I believe we should take FDR's Second Bill of Rights and take that as our guiding post, right? As our touchstone and run with it. Oh, God, when I think of the country we could have been, you know, if FDR didn't die, if he had been able to pass the Second Bill of Rights, the right to a job, the right to a house, the right to health care, what a country we would have been. We would not have a Traitor Trump, because the only way he gets in is through the broken capitalist system of income disparity and upward immobility, where they tickle racist funny bones. And here we are. I don't know how they get to, or they look at themselves, you know, in the mirror and think they're the good guys, going after the Southern Poverty Law Center. You know, and not, I mean, you're representing the Ku Klux Klan here? The poor put upon Nazis? Oh, very fine people on both sides. Oh, I forgot, right. There were very fine people on both sides. The Nazis, the violent Nazis who went to Charlottesville to unite the right. They were very fine people. And the citizens of the United States, the normal people that went out and said, "No Nazis in our town, please. Thank you very much." They were the aggressors. They were radical leftists, radical alt-left. He makes shit up, Antifa and all that. If this doesn't prove that Traitor Trump's administration is a white supremacist project, nothing does at this point. There's no meaning. And this is why we've been saying for years that the corporate media has really done a disservice to the American experiment by normalizing this. They got us here. But we're not surprised, because this is who they've been all along. They have always been this. They've never hidden it. So the fact that the corporate media can present Trump as just another palatable choice that a voter might make, they've been doing that from the beginning. That they should be ashamed of themselves, because it's like, oh, whoops, the hood's off, and oh my God, it's Trump. But it's not a surprise. He's never worn the fucking hood. They never had a reason to. It's not like, oh my God, I'm shocked. It's not like Eric Swalwell all of a sudden, he turns around and he's like a fucking Ted Bundy type. That's shocking. You thought you had a friend. You thought you had an ally. But he turns out he's drugging people and raping, allegedly. We'll find out. But that's shocking. And it was just like it was shocking when Ted Bundy's friends found out what he was up to. Because he put on a good front. The respectable law student. But Republicans, the Trump maladministration, Trump himself, it doesn't matter. I'm the least racist person you've ever known? Ridiculous. Why would the corporate media even have to repeat that? They should say it with nothing but laughter. He's the least racist person. No, he's fucking racist, and you call it out. Don't act like he's legit. He's the least. It's like might as well Hitler saying, "I'm the least racist person." They always do anyway. Even the Ku Klux Klan say they're not racist. It's not about racism. The Klan, David Duke, always says he's not racist. They say it all the time because they, it's to them, it's, they just love their own race or something like that. I don't know. They're dumb. They're very boring and small. And, what's the whole right, the project of the right is racism. It always has been. Right-wing media, like the National Review, they are cheering this indictment, by the way. They say it's richly deserved humiliation and objectively hilarious, but while they admit that the charges may not stick because they're trumped up. Good word, right? Trumped up. Good way to say it. Unbelievable. And the New Republic points out that the structure of the indictment, multiple fraud counts tied to donor money, and they describe it as it looks like an intentional effort to financially damage or destroy the Southern Poverty Law Center as an organization, rather than merely punish specific offenses. This isn't about law. Clearly, it's about kneecapping one of the most effective organizations tracking right-wing hate. And Republicans, as we know, they like right-wing hate. That's how they keep power. And it's also about sending a message to anyone who might also try to, track right-wing hate. They like right-wing hate. I mean, can we all agree on that now? Because how else do they get power? They need power by right-wing hate. It's all about right-wing hate. Really correct me. Correct me if I'm wrong. What am I missing? All they do is divide and hate and foment hate against groups that aren't them. And even them, you know, like look at Kash Patel there. He's another one. You know, he's another one who was surprised. He posted something, an Indian holiday, you know, a meme for an Indian, a religious holiday, a Hindu, I can't remember what it was. And he was so surprised at all the hate that he got back, that was tweeted back at him. He couldn't believe it, bro. Same thing, it's like Caitlyn Jenner. She can't believe it. All the hate. Because this is what they run on. What else do they have? I mean, here's the thing. If about the Southern Poverty Law Center, if paying informants inside violent organizations can be rebranded as fraud or support, then every civil rights watchdog or every investigative newsroom or law enforcement unit using similar tactics, right? Undercover tactics. Everyone's potentially at risk if this regime doesn't like their targets. And of course, you know, it's always about weaponization and lawfare. Everybody's after him. When we use the law, when the long arm of the law finally reaches Traitor Trump, that's lawfare. When he gets the legal consequences for his illegal actions, like stealing classified documents or calling the Secretary of State of Georgia and saying, "I need you to find me the votes to win," or, you know, or falsifying business records. That's what happened, right? For paying off a porn star, using campaign funds to pay off a porn star, and then falsifying business records to hide this political action. That's what happened. He used it to cover up what he did, that he was paid off a porn star with political funds, and it was a campaign tactic to keep the American people from knowing that he had sex with a porn star while his third trophy wife was home recovering from childbirth. What a champ, right? What a guy. Those felonies, the 34 felony counts, that's lawfare. But this is normal? That's not lawfare, because everything's a projection or a confession. They cry lawfare because that's what they do. It's not lawfare when there's consequences for your criminal actions. It's lawfare when you drum up trumped up charges against a group that you don't like because they what? They go after your pals in the KKK? You don't like them because you like Nazis. You're in bed with Nazis. This is the Nazification of America. And we should all be embarrassed, ashamed, and outraged. It infuriates me because I think about everyone who died giving their life fighting somebody like Traitor Trump. And I get outraged when I think about the people that voted for this. It just makes me sick. How dare they? How dare they fly a flag or... Ugh. They're all, I mean, they all do, right? They love the flag. They love the Eagles. They love not the football team, but they love the branding, the flags, the USA chants. They love that because they like to be dicks. God. But they're trying to bankrupt the Southern Poverty Law Center and weaken it because, it's one of the few institutions systemically tracking hate groups. When do we classify the Republican Party as a hate group? I would say it's the most dangerous hate group that the world has ever had to contend with. At this point, it's not your father's Republican Party anymore. It's not Eisenhower's Republican Party. It's not Lincoln's Republican Party. Far from it. This is a completely different brand. This Republican Party. Please stop me when I'm wrong. Right. Vanessa on the chat says, like they did with Acorn. Yeah, that's right. The voter group, right? That's what Acorn was. They would register voters. They went after Acorn. Who's that guy? Oh yeah, James O'Keefe. And Acorn folded because they were bankrupted because of the lawfare. And yeah, what a shame. And what was their crime? They registered a lot of people with darker pigment. And they were always, the Republicans, they never let go of anything. We could take a lesson from them. I remember them on the floor of the House railing about Acorn. It went on for years until they finally got it. Yeah. The community organizing. It was the Association of Community Organizers for Reform Now. And they were a nationwide network organizing low and moderate income people around housing, wages, public services, and voting. They helped poor people. Like the kind of poor people Catsimatidis wants to send to foreign countries. He doesn't want to see them. He doesn't want to have to lift his fucking leg and walk over them and spit on them. Jesus Christ. Will it ever, with these, will we ever turn this country around for decency, for dignity, for humanity? It is embarrassing to be so infested with this kind of selfishness, the sickness. The Republicans. How much longer are we gonna take it? Really though, right? When I think about the good news, the American people are seeing the light, that Republicans are not good for the economy like they thought for all these many years. Even though the Republicans have presided over 9 out of 10 recessions, and every time they get in office, they, they bankrupt. The American people fall lower on the ladder, and things suck. That wages stagnate. I mean, I could rattle off some of these stats. I was going to save it for Tuesday, when they publish my article. Maybe I will. We only have, how much time we have here? We don't have, oh shit, I just hit the fucking wrong button. What time is it? Now I lost track of time because I hit the wrong button, and the timer went back to the beginning, as you heard, probably. I think we had 10:20. We have 10 minutes. It's fine. It don't matter. It is Friday. We have each other's. Yeah, Acorn shut down during the Obama administration. That's part of the problem. Grumpy on the chat. The Republicans went after Acorn. And I remember the story well, because it was one of the things I was screaming about at the time. I don't think I wasn't doing a show like this, but I used to do, how I got started, I guess you could say. I would do these 2-minute commentaries for political voices, progressive voices, the Progressive Voices app. And one of the stories was about Shirley Sherrod, right? It was all connected. Let me see. Shirley Sherrod. So much to remember. And they went after Acorn when Congress cut off the funding, but it was a Republican, I think, majority, no? But yeah, because they were voted, the Congress voted to cut off Acorn's funding after the groups. What happened here? The state chapters spun off into separate entities. It was a large community organizing network with over 400,000 members and a national staff of more than 1,000. Wow. Well, that's very threatening to Republicans. I mean, they're out there helping poor people and they're signing people up to vote. Like, that's threatening to the Republicans. And they went, in 2009, the infamous pimp and prostitute, that's what James O'Keefe did. He went undercover as a pimp and prostitute. It was all bullshit, of course, as we found out. It's all selectively edited bullshit. This is what Republicans do. But at the time, and would drive me crazy then, Obama was too quick to throw people under the bus. He was trying to be that all things to all people. He was still in this delusion that the fever would break, that he could be the one who would bring the Republicans to the fold, and then they would start being normal governors, that they would be sincere partners in governance. And it never happened. It took until the second administration, the second Obama administration, for him to start signing all those executive orders, because he was done trying to deal with Republicans. I don't know. He was under the delusion that I don't know. I guess he didn't hear about the caucus room conspiracy. We all heard about it, though, on the night of Obama's inauguration, where they vowed to not do anything, to commit legislative constipation, that no policies would pass, that and this was during the time when we were on the verge of the second Republican Great Depression in 100 years, and the American people were hurting. So Republicans' response was, fuck off. We want you to hurt even more. We want you to feel more pain, because then you will blame Obama. So, yeah, in 2009, let me see, the infamous pimp and prostitute undercover videos, Congress passed amendments to spending bills prohibiting federal funding for Acorn, and Obama signed that funding ban on October 1st, 2009. Tell me about it. It was heartbreaking to me, I have to say, and I've said it before. Obama was probably the best Republican president we've had in my lifetime. I wasn't around for Eisenhower, but he really was a conservative. He was not a liberal in any sense, that's for sure. He was not a liberal, and he didn't consider himself a liberal either. I remember that because I remember hearing Bernie Sanders talk about it when they were discussing health care, and he was I think Bernie was in Obama's White House in the Oval Office trying to get him to back a public option, and Obama, according to the story, Obama said to Bernie, the problem with you liberals is blah, 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 blah. Like, you're not practical or whatever. And he, and Bernie told that story saying, he doesn't consider himself a liberal because a liberal doesn't talk like that. Right? The problem with you liberals, like, I don't say, the problem with you Tarabusters the problem with you democratic socialists, because I'm one. I am a democratic socialist. So, but Obama was not a liberal, and it was much to my heartache. I remember when he got elected, I sent him, not that he cares or would listen, but I sent a copy of Traitor to his class, the book about FDR, one of the books about FDR. And I think about the middle of the first term, or maybe, I don't know, somewhere along there, I realized that, yeah, he was a traitor to his class, but his class was the middle class. And there were many ways. I mean, whatever. This is late in the show, so only the real diehards are still hanging on here. And but Obama was, he could have been. He's not a liberal. He's not a liberal at all. He's. That's why instead of bailing out the homeowners, he bailed out the banks. He had a choice. He could have. All those homeowners who were underwater in the housing bubble, he had a choice to give them the money to keep them in their homes or give it to the banks. And that was a deliberate choice, to give it to banks instead of the homeowners. And it's just, that's how a conservative would think, wouldn't they? Many of those missed opportunities, I believe. Like, I believe that we're still, the whole Obamacare, it's better than nothing, because nothing sucked. And I do remember having nothing, not being able to get health care, being somebody who is freelance and having to, get my own health insurance for for many years, long before Obamacare. It was impossible and very expensive, of course. It's still expensive, but that's because Republicans have sabotaged it. It would not be as expensive if we had all the money, all of the, the funding mechanisms that Republicans deliberately took out, all of them, every single one, up until and including the subsidies. That's the last one that they're doing away with. And but before that, you couldn't get health insurance, and then of course you were at their mercy of the health insurance racketeers. And I don't know. I believe I'm of the belief that the reason we have to constantly be batted around by these filthy fascist Republicans when in regard to health care, where they're always kicking people off and fucking it up and taking away the funding mechanisms and now you're on, now you're off, like they're just treating people like shit. That's why it is so stressful to be an American. People from all over the world, they don't understand it. It's because of that bullshit. There's no social safety net to speak of, and then you're constantly being screwed and fucking just like batted around by these bastards. But the reason they could do it is because there is no public option. That's the way you do it. So they can't fuck with it. Everybody in, nobody out has to be the only way, the American way, the democratic way. Everybody in, nobody out. We don't leave anybody behind. That's how you have to do it. And the only reason we have to endure this, and that's why whenever they fucking do this to us with Trump, going after Obamacare, they would never be able to do it if it were a public option. It would have been a done deal. That's it. That's how, follow FDR. That's why he made Social Security belong to everyone. As he said, so no damn politician can scrap it. It's a done deal. Everybody in, nobody out. That's why Republicans are working all the time. That's what they say. We should means test it. I don't need it. I'm a billionaire. I don't need Social Security. I even hear our fellow Americans who work for a living, friends of mine, they'll say that. They'll say it. Well, we should just, well, why does Bill Gates need Social Security? Why? Because everybody in, nobody out is the only American value. And when you start means testing it, then you can defund it. You can vilify it. You can shrink it down to the size of a kitten or a baby and drown it in a bathtub. These Republicans are fucking low, cunning, devious bastards. And they are constantly trying to fuck with your life and make it worse and suck. And we're talking about freedom. You know? That's right. There you go. Drew on the chat. No public option for internet either. That's why a handful of huge ISPs have no incentive to improve our decrepit network infrastructure. Oh, no, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Internet should be a public utility, not in the hands of these private corporations. That's what we're trying to do with net neutrality and whatnot. But try to explain this shit to the American people who've been so propagandized by the likes of John Catsimatidis and Elon Musk and Bezos and all these other fucking pricks that are not nice. They're not nice. That's why when I yell at my cats, you know, I don't really yell at them, but when I try to discipline them, they don't listen. But I say, not nice. Not nice. See, they don't even pay attention. Not nice. I wish I could say that to these billionaires. Not nice. That is not nice. You know? You know? Catsimatidis. All right. It's time to end the show. This is the Tarabuster show. Nice theme song you got there. Right? It's the Tarabuster show. All right, listen, guys, thank you for hanging out, and thank you for your super chats. Thank you, John. Pardon me, I'm losing my voice. For your super chat. Thank you, Michelle, for your super chat. Thank you, Susie, for your super chat. I'm even losing I lost my voice for you guys tonight. It's okay. I'm only kidding. Because I was kind of salty. We had a good chat tonight, right? What do you think? Did you have a nice time? Did you have a nice time in the Tarabuster chat tonight, peoples? I hope so. Let me see something. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, next Friday. Well, next Friday we're going to have Bob Seska on the show. On a Friday night Tarabuster. That'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Good conversation. We'll have more. We'll have Boston Brian will be back. He's great. John Fugelsang will be back. So please like and subscribe. Hopefully I'll get back on the Stephanie Miller show. That'll be nice. And Politics Bar. We'll have Jody Hamilton back. We'll have everybody. We'll have Poppy Champlin back. Right? Trying to get Robin Kincaid on here one of these days. She promises. She does. I got to get Mike Malloy on here. I got to talk to him. Wouldn't that be great? If we have, I gotta get Mike on here. Maybe I'll ask him. Not, well, this week we have Bob Seska. Maybe next week. Depends. It all depends on his schedule. Maybe a Friday for Mike? What do you think? I'll have to ask him. Mike Malloy, the great Mike Malloy. All right, my friend. And Poppy, of course. Bring back Poppy, yes. She's out there living the dream. I gotta find out if she's on tour. But yes, Poppy's amazing. Who else should we get? We'll try to get, I don't know. I gotta get JoJo from Jers. We tried to get her on the first show, the first Tarabuster Tuesday, and it, fucking technical problems. Yes, Mike Malloy is still around. Are you kidding me? He's on Progressive Voices app, and he's, you know, you should be subscribing to it. Mike Malloy, every day. He does a show every single day, including Sunday, for his Patreon. So, yeah. All right, guys, I gotta go because I have to go to bed. I'm tired. I want to put my feet up. My feet hurt. My toes hurt. My bunions ache. My knees are, I don't know, achy. My pits stink. My corns ache. All right. Let's see. He read an article of Tara's on his show. Who did? No way. Who read it? My show? Wait. This Tara? Who read an article of mine? Huh? Are you sure it was me or Tara Devlin? She writes a lot. Devlin writes for Raw Story. And sometimes there's people hear the name and they mix us up. Mike Malloy read an article about me? No, not about me, but that I wrote. Hey, that's great. That is great. I'll have to listen because I listen to Mike Malloy's show. Of course. All right, let's go. Anything good on TV? What's good on Netflix? Anybody? Watching The Testaments, of course, on Hulu. Pretty sure it was you. About Ken Paxton. Yes, I did write an article about Ken Paxton. Me, little Tara Devlin. Oh, okay. Thank you, Mike. That's great. That's great to hear. Thank you for letting me know. I'll have to thank him, and I will have to ask him to come on the show at the same time. The Pit on HBO, that's good. I heard good things about that, Vanessa. I like to sometimes, like, maybe tomorrow, I don't know. I like to just binge watch something and get distracted from my life. But by watching somebody else's life. And I pretend there's no Republicans in my life. Right? All right. Cool. All right, guys. I love you. Thank you for hanging out. Look at Boudica, though. She's so cute. Look how good she is. She is so cute. Right? Buddha. She's so cute. She's stretching. What a good girl. Do your stretches. Uh-oh, here comes trouble. Come on. Come on. You coming up now or not? Come on. It's Francis. There, yay. Getting visited by everybody tonight. Say hello. Say hello. You a good boy? Mwah, mwah, mwah. All right. All right, guys. That's the end of the show. I keep saying that, I know. All right. It is the end now. But remember, we will win. We will. We will win. You know why? Because we're on the right side of history. Yeah, we are. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you guys for hanging out. We stick together. We win. My name is Tara Devlin. Please become a patron, patreon.com/Tara Devlin. Please subscribe to my Substack and other things. Keep the show going and growing. We will win. Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News, for your support and your help for the community cats. Charlie not only supports the show, he supports the community cats, feeding them, housing them. So check out APS Radio and APS Radio News. APS Radio, listen to classic rock and oldies all day. And there's a classical music station there too. APS Radio News, there's other, I'm on there, so that's good. But there's other commentators, like Cindy Sheehan has a show on there. She's got a great show. So check out APS Radio News, okay, guys? Because we stick together, we win. My name is Tara Devlin. I will see you soon. Stay safe.